One of my favorite ways to get in the Christmas spirit when I'm getting sick of Christmas music is Christmas podcasts. This week, I wanted to show you that there are Christmas podcasts that are specifically geared toward kids with some Christmas podcast episode recommendations. Hi, I'm Andy Smiley, the Friendly Podcast Guide. I'm a mom who uses podcasts to fight the boredom and loneliness of motherhood and to entertain my kids when I need a break. And I want you to be able to use podcasts in these ways too. But it can be overwhelming to try and find a podcast you or your kids will enjoy in the thousands of shows that are out there. That's where I come in. Each week, I talk about different podcasts with topics ranging from parenting to pop culture and everything in between. My episodes are short and they answer your questions about the show, so you'll know if it's a good fit for you or your kids or not. Now, let's talk podcasts. The first Kid Podcast Christmas episode is from the podcast Bedtime History. We listen to bedtime history very regularly at our house. My kiddos use Sleep Kid podcast to settle down before going to sleep every night, and bedtime history is in our regular rotation. Each episode is around 10 minutes long, and the kids get to learn about interesting history subjects. And even though it's called bedtime history, there is no rule that you can only listen to this show before going to bed. One episode that'll help y'all get into the Christmas spirit is called Christmas Trees. It's all about the history of Christmas trees, their origin in ancient Europe, and now their central role in the cultures that celebrate Christmas around the world. I'll put a link to this episode and all of the episodes I talk about today in the show notes. The next Kid Podcast Christmas episode is from a podcast that's new this year. It's called 'Tis the Grinch Holiday Talk Show. This show is full of the Grinch being ornery and Cindy Lou Who keeping him in check. There are several different segments in each episode, just like a normal talk show, which I noticed kept my kids more engaged. Each episode also has a special guest who chats with the Grinch and usually gets insulted by him at least once. The episode I'm recommending for your family is called A Christmas Countdown Already with Olympian Shawn Johnson East. During this episode, the Grinch has a segment where he says parents are dumb for making their kids go to bed at a certain time. He guesses the different silly and crazy sounds Cindy Lou Who plays for him, and he chats with Shawn Johnson East, an Olympic gymnast. The episode altogether is about half an hour long. Before we talk about more Kid Podcast Christmas episodes, we're going to take a quick break to talk about a way for you to up your podcast game with me as your guide. So you've started your podcast. That's an amazing accomplishment. Good for you. But now you're realizing that it could be so much better. One way you could improve your show is by scouring YouTube, Pinterest, and Google for podcast tips and tricks. But the more streamlined and personalized way to do it is to join my program, The Sounding Board. It's a small group coaching program starting in January, where I'll spend 6 weeks teaching you how to take your podcast from a decent long-term marketing strategy to an amazing way for you to find new clients and keep the ones you already have. You'll be learning with a group of motivated podcasters, and we'll have an exclusive Voxer group where you can ask specific questions for your podcast and get feedback from the group. The Sounding Board will take your podcast from to excellent in 6 short weeks. Early bird pricing for the Sounding Board is available right now, but that discount ends on December 14th. If you have any questions, please email me at friendlypodcastguide@gmail.com or hop on over to Instagram and send me a DM at friendlypodcastguide. I can't wait to help you make your podcast the best it can be. The next Kid Podcast Christmas episode is from the Family Road Trip Trivia Podcast. This is the perfect podcast to have ready for car rides, even if they aren't road trips. If your kids are anything like mine, they'll love guessing the answers to the trivia questions asked and getting quote-unquote points when they get it right. Our whole family also likes to learn the tidbits of information that they talk about in each episode. A great one to listen to during Christmas time is the episode called Christmas Movie Trivia. There's trivia about Home Alone, The Santa Claus, Elf, and many more classic Christmas movies. This episode is around 10 minutes long. The next Kid Podcast Christmas episode is from the podcast Girl Tales. This podcast features reimagined fairy tales. You won't find damsels in distress or princesses in need of protection in this show. The girls in these stories take control of their own destinies, turning your favorite fairy tales into exciting new adventures. A great Christmas episode is called Marie the Nutcracker Prince. It's about Marie, who has dreams of playing the Nutcracker Prince in her ballet holiday recital, but her dreams are crushed when she is cast in the role of Clara, but she starts to rethink things when in the middle of the night she shrinks down in size, meets the dolls she forgot about under her bed, and must defeat the Mouse King and his army. The episode is around 40 minutes long. The last Kid Podcast Christmas episode for today is from the podcast Kids Short Stories. It's a podcast that takes ideas that kids submit and turns them into fun adventures that help kids use their imagination in exciting new ways. The Christmas episode I recommend listening to is called Logan and Gavin Save Christmas. It's actually a 3-part series all about Logan and Gavin who have to save Christmas trees from being turned purple and becoming super stinky, and save Christmas itself from being ruined by the purple ninjas. Each of the 3 episodes are around 10 minutes long. I hope you and your kids enjoy listening to these episodes during this Christmas season, and I'd love to hear which one was your favorite. Let me know over on Instagram at Friendly Podcast Guide. Also, if you want to take your podcast from a decent marketing strategy to the perfect tool to help you get more clients and keep the ones you already have, join my group coaching program, The Sounding Board. Early bird pricing is available right now, but that discount ends on December 14th, so hop on it. Talk to you soon. When I'm getting sick of Christmas music. Okay,